Um, it's a very special customer, as you can imagine, of the line of work they do, but also very special people to work with. Um, and this presentation, I'm really proud that we could pull this off because, as you can imagine, they are not always allowed to speak in public about the things they do. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Olu Benga.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I work with the International Criminal Court. We are proud of what we do because we support in trying to bring world peace through justice. However, we're here to talk about how our roadmap or our journey to Mendix. How did we get to Mendix? I'm going to have a couple of discussion about our challenges, how we get to here, what we've been doing before Mendix, and now that we adopted Mendix, how has Mendix helped us? So I'll run through a bit of agenda. I'll talk about our organization, background, what we do, how we've been set up as an organization, uh, the roadmap to Mendix, or how Mendix gets selected within ICC, and then what we've done with Mendix in ICC, how our first hub came about, our achievement so far, and then what we plan to do with Mendix. Well, as I said, as an organization, um, we support or we contribute to global peace by trying to end impunity. When I said impunity, there are so much conflicts going on around the world. It's sometimes um, sad to see or to be part of that humanity could do this to each other. But as an organization, we try to be part of doing something about it. So we, as an IT within the organization, we face a couple of challenges in supporting this mandate. It's a huge mandate. And I'll probably give you a bit of reason why as an IT is difficult as a challenge for us to deal with this mandate. Internally, we are in a way structured like in three folds, of which we have the prosecution, we have the judiciary, and then the registry. The prosecution goes after the examination to check about. There are a couple of ways crimes could be investigated within the organization, either by being referred to from the Security Council, which is the United Nations, or they are part of the member states which fund the organization, and there is a crime that committed around there, and then they usually um, gets their case also by referrals. So any citizens around the world could just send information to ICC about any crime. And then the judiciary, of course, taking the case, examine the viability of the case and admissibility of the case, and then allow prosecution to go ahead. And of course, registry, of which we belong, ICC, we provide administrative service to all this mandate. As I said also, we work to end impunity. There are war crimes, crimes against humanity, crime against aggression. So those are our pretty much mandates. And if you know, generally, peace or lasting peace usually come about whereby there is justice. Because mediating within peace, having peace through mediation really will work for a particular period, but whenever there is a justice based on an aggression, I think it contributes to a much more lasting peace. And that's why we are being supported by a particular mandate called the Rome Statute. That Rome Statute was founded in 2002. Now, that's about IT. That's about the organization. Now, IT, what do we face in doing these challenges? I think pretty much any IT manager must have faces what we face in a way, because generally all I get from my table is okay, we need a requirement to solve this solution. The business wants this, they want that, they wanted to make a business efficiency processes, and so many. Again, we've been dealing with it traditionally before Mendix, but we know that to solve a particular problem or develop a small application, at least if I have to be optimistic, maybe 3 months. If you have to do the normal code, pretty much one process or two process application, it will take you or your developers at least around 3 months. And then we also have few uh, business IT knowledgeable resources, which means there are people that also like to do IT. They are within the business. They are not IT specific. And again, there is a whole lot of people within the business that said, okay, we are doing this project, we are doing this. IT doesn't even know about it. They've done something either in SharePoint, in Access. That's pretty much it. It's only when the person that did it disappears or IT wants to change computer or operating system, that's when you found out about those applications that exist. And then it's a problem of IT because the business already depends so much on that that you don't know how to you adopt it. So these are one of the problems we face. Another one is the business wanting their own IT. Okay, you are not providing enough support for us. We want to go on our own way and establish our own IT. And this happens a lot. Again, that means duplication of budget, duplication of resources. So one of the things we do is that, okay, maybe we need to come to the table and discuss how best can we resolve this. Another one is they want something. The business said, I want a solution that will do X, Y. But then you said, okay, you have purchased, or they went ahead and purchased a software from the vendor because, of course, I think our vendors in our industry knows how to sell very well. So they will sell the product to the business users IT don't know. And IT knows better way to assess their requirement and probably uh, relate to the solutions that they are actually seeing in the market. But for whatever reason, maybe one of our business user have used this in his past experience or past work and wants to bring the solution on board. It's usually the classic mistakes. Then, of course, like the one I said, technology preference. I want so and so solution because it works better in the last investigation company that I work with. And of course, you bring it, it doesn't fit your infrastructure. And then again, another one is even if we get to talk on the table, let's develop together, let's collaborate. It's still a challenge because IT want them to do it this way, they want to do it this way. So it's usually all these are the challenges we face, and we go back and forth discussing, explaining how do we do this, even though we know we don't have enough resources to keep developing code and code and code for them. And again, we cannot tell them, please reduce your requirement or your needs, because their needs is their needs. They need to be able to work more efficient, much better. And the world, as I've said in the beginning, the world is more advanced that we need to catch up based on the fact that we need to find the bad guys or we need to find evidence against what has happened. So it's pretty much challenging for us. So what did we do? I think there was one conference we went to that's happened. It was a Gardner conference, A colleague of mine came. He said, "Did you hear about Gartner said Mendix happens to be in the top quadrant, market leader in low code?" I looked into it. I made a bit of research about Mendix, and I said, "It looks pretty promising. Maybe we should try it out." And then we invited Mendix. We had a discussion with Mendix, and for some reason, we went out to market with this requirement. We said actually we already know that Mendix fits this requirement, because one of the biggest challenge we have, as you know, we are a court. Our data is very, very, very sensitive. We don't want it out there. We are very scared of this, of the cloud. So we want something that we can develop or manage all 100% inside. So we have this requirement. We want it inside, a possibility to be inside. We want a low code, easy to integrate, and then we will be willing to start a 2-year investment just to see whether it's really the direction we want to go. Then Mendix came in with the execution plan. They have a program called the Digital Execution Roadmap. Um, Initially, we were like, "What's this? I mean, we just need your application." We said, "No, no, no. It's better we do it rightly. We should adopt it the right way." So they introduced us to this. We said, "Is this going to cost addition?" "No, no." So that's part of the whole program. I said, "Okay, it's not going to cost me any much more money. Let's hear it." So we sat, we had a couple of discussion, then they'd come up with these 4 Ps that we need to first think about our portfolio. What do we want to cover with this? The people we want to involve, engaged, the processes, and our platform. So yeah, it makes sense. It's pretty much, we say it's a common sense, even though we were not practicing it, but it is a common sense. So we took it on board, and we decided to say, okay, let's do it right. Then we did something by saying, okay, we need to, first of all, because one of the problem we want to solve, as I mentioned, is our citizen developers, our business wanting to do the things their own way. So first of all, we need something that we can do and collaborate. Make sure that they work with us, make sure that they do things the way we want to do it. So the first thing we did is we come up with um, um, a development guideline principles. We share it with our citizen developers. Said, okay, this is how we want you to develop. Everything you, up until how you want to name your entities, whatever. This is how we would like it to do. Because why we are asking this is, if your resource should leave, IT can easily see a code and be able to maintain it. And then it's again low code, it's not anything that dramatic, we can take it on board easily. So we want that continuity. So we said, okay, we need to do a whole that. So we come up with a very, very good governance structure. And of course, the platform also give us that leverage. The platform has that governance inside it. So it's really interesting for us. So then one of the things they also market for us is that we need to start right and start with high visibility, which is pick a small application or small solution that you have in your pipeline that has high visibility. I mean, our senior management are going to interact with this and they can see the success. We had a couple of debates which one to pick. It became another long talk, but okay, we came up with one which is then called the, okay, before then we did the adoption, which means we had it set up, we had the platform set up, we start empowering, which means sending training our guys to training, even the citizen developers, we include them in the training model, and then we try to put all this governance structure in place. Everybody seems to be on track. We seems to all agree, and then we came up with our first app. which is the judicial activity tracking. Reason why we choose this, yes, as I said, we wanted to have high visibility. And what this does is more like um, um, the services, as I said, the registry provides services to the whole court, which is the prosecution, the judiciary. So each whatever decision the judge makes, the judge could make a decision and said, okay, we need something to be carried out. That becomes binding and it needs to be tracked. So registry will get that and they said, okay, this lawyer or this person has to carry out this. That must not be lost in a track. They mustn't say, okay, we forgot or something, because it becomes legal. It's legally binding. So this becomes a very, very important tracking tool that every request that comes from the chambers or from the court proceedings has to be tracked. And then the ultimate responsible person, which is the CEO or the called registrar, needs to know that every activity that has been requested the registrar to carry out is being done, and they can track it from this system. It was very high visibility, as like I said, it's tracking the whole judicial processes and all the requirement or request that comes out from there. And then, yes, this is a new, again, when we were developing it, we said, okay, we do not have the expertise per se because we just got trained. So we said, Mendix, we want you to develop it for us by us learning as well. So they came up with a developer, a team of which we have also part of our developers join the team and they form one team to develop this application. Thereby they learn on the job and at the same time understand. There is also a new thing that came onto the organization, which is the organization is usually traditional, as you know, it's an international organization. So we are not agile at all, you know. So even though the development team knows the concept of agile, we try to develop in agile, but of course the organization itself is not agile. So first of all, we had to tell our product owner and the business itself that is involved in this business process what agile means, how it's going to help them, and because for them, we've given you requirements, go do it. Bring us the solution. That's what they used to. So this time we pulled them in, and for whatever reason, they got really, really interested because they believe they are doing IT solution by themselves. So for the first time, we see our business really taking the lead and enjoying us provide solution to them. So it's a new paradigm shift, and it actually helped us. It did help us. It gave them the visibility. They already see what's coming, and they are very, very proud of what they are doing. So when this application is deployed into production, they just adopted it. They were very happy, and then the visibility, of course, was high. Okay, I think Mendix also has a tradition of celebrating with a cake. Of course, we are an international organization. We don't take gifts, so no cake. I said to them politely, "Sorry, I like to eat cake, but we can't take cake from you." So then we move ahead. We did our first start, which is the first application. Now we need to move to the structure. How did we do that? As I mentioned before, we adopted the governance structure on the development environment, and then we allow the the citizens developers to start. That's when we actually give them. They can't create a project. We have to. IT has to create a project for them, pipe the project through our SVN, so that all their codes still sit with us. They can't just go. So if they are to collaborate, we will create the branch for them. They will do it. We will match the. So we manage the code internally within IT, but they still feels that okay, they are writing the code, and it's still, and it's not just the traditional way they do it, like Access, SharePoint. They're doing it rightly. Even they have user stories, backlogs, and all those kind of things. So they also feel like they are now doing IT work. For that, we also benefited for the fact that we just kind of extend our IT a bit, and many more are coming. Also, I can even tell you what happened on Monday. There was a manager that just said to me, "I need access," because that's one of the things we did. We take away access from all computers, and then SharePoint also no access for any kind of developer access for anybody outside IT. So, and if they need, they have to request from IT to install. Of course, it comes through me to approve, and I have to check, is there a business need? What is the real need for you to request this? If the only, I can say the only reason why I still approve this is there is a legacy application that was purchased long time ago, and it uses it only for a particular functionality. And so if I see and it's not relating to that, my general tendency is I will disapprove it and ask you, come to me, let us teach you how you can use Mendix, and then you can do the little thing you want to do, and then you still have the same or better outcome. So yes, we try to close that gap, and then application delivery, it's much simpler. Now we also have two parallel way of how they do continuous deployment, which means we can deploy all our code, and then there are some IT savvy within the business which we have now empowered to be able to do their own deployment as well. But then we still do peer review before they do the deployment. So ultimately, what goes out is still very clean and well tested application. Then, um, what we have done so far is we've done a couple of applications, and one of the way we also, when we were doing all this, is we try to say, okay, number one, to just give you a bit of brief context, I have 5 developers within the organization, so only 5 software developers, and I cannot imagine 5 people being able to satisfies the amount of requests that comes from the business without the low code. So now what we did is when I looked at the backlog, the business wanted a mobile application, they wanted a collaboration, it's a application that has workflow, huge workflow inside. They want applications that are on the cloud. They want a couple of applications. So what we did is um, um, we went out with the tender to be able to work with Mendix partners. And why did we do this? We wanted kind of a staff augmentation. We want extra hands that have used this low code and they know how to do it. So as to beef up our staff strength capacity, and then from there we also learn a bit more. So we partner with a couple of the Mendix partners, and they have helped us so well. One of it, of which we did offline mobile app, and this offline mobile app, okay, we would say it was kind of a pioneer application, because that is when we started it before Mendix actually released nanoflows, and nanoflows were like, okay, we wouldn't have made that kind of decision if we knew there was no nanoflows. But anyway, we did it, and nanoflows just came right on time, and then it was used. And this mobile application is also to be deployed using BlackBerry, because that's what we use as our MDM. And I keep stressing security is our biggest challenge. That's why we stay with BlackBerry. I don't think many people still stay with BlackBerry, but few organization that still has security as an issue still seems to stick with them. So we still have BlackBerry as our MDM, and we have our biggest challenge between BlackBerry and Mendix. That's another story. I don't want to bore you with, but um, We want to deploy the application on BlackBerry, and then we we are still working on that. But the application itself has been completed. It's been done by a partner together with us, and they have deployed this on an iPad, and it works perfectly fine. It's an amazing application. It's going to help us. And if another version of that application with little functionality also is deployed in Mendix Cloud. So it's really happening for us. Also, we have connect some of our applications to legacy applications, which is like SAP. And right now, we are also working on one connecting SAP, Mendix to Call Manager, Cisco Call Manager. This is to track all the outgoing calls from our Cisco CUCM. And also, we also had third-party application API calls with Mendix. We have built reusable objects with widget within Mendix. We've used the one that they have. We have also built the one that we can use as a single sign-on within our own infrastructure. So so far we have been we've deployed about five applications. A couple of them are going live within the next 2 months, and by June, I think June, July, we will have about 11 applications in production. And that's we see as a very big improvement if we talk about 2 years. If we are to develop 11 applications in 2 years, I think we can do it with 5 people. I don't think it's possible. And the amount, if we are to buy this application in the market, I don't think the amount we spent will equal to what we have spent so far. So far, we we have now increased our commitment with Mendix, and I said, okay, no longer 2 years, we want now 5 year commitment. So we've just gone into a 5 year contract with Mendix for continuous application solution delivery. And we were happy with a lot of new products that they are launching today or this in this seminar. So it still looks like it's even more promising for us that we are on the right path to deliver our mandate to the court. So that's the roadmap. So we have increased our investments now 5 years. Initially was two. We are growing together with application development within Mendix. And one thing we would like to drop within this is that we never see Mendix as a silver bullet. I mean, it's just one of the tool in the toolbox. Not every we don't say Mendix will cover every kind of solution, but it's a tool worthy to have within an organization. And if you really if you're a kind of an organization that has a huge highly process driven, I would say it's something it's worthy to have within your enterprise architecture. So for us, we're happy. If you have any question, please.
Any questions?
So those sort of tech-savvy people that were in the business and that were or IT enthusiasts, as I
Yes.
believe you call them,
Yeah.
could you tell us a little more about the type of skills that they have and the type of skills that they didn't have?
Thank you. The tech savvy people within the business, they have different ranges, I would say. One Currently we have one that is even as tech savvy as an IT person himself. Actually he used to work within IT and he moved to the business. So he is really tech savvy. However, there are other ones there that mostly like they have different skill set. One of them is an expert in SharePoint development. He just likes to develop within SharePoint. And of course, SharePoint will not provide the full requirement they have. So they will do it to 70% and find somehow to cover the remaining, or just leave them on out, or find another applications to cover that. So now the business actually have released, or they've released one application being led by the tech savvy person, the one that left IT to the business. He led one development, and there is another development going on to be deployed end of this month. And they have just announced 2 weeks ago that they are planning to develop 2 mobile applications. So you can see they are even taking the initiatives themselves, and the adoption of Mendix within the business is even getting even bigger than us. They are the business. Usually, they have more money, so they can even spend more than we do. So we are happy that they have adopted it, and they can write, like the test savvy guy is very, very good in Java programming. He's also good in .NET programming, and now he's a Mendix guy. So he has Mendix as part of his tool set now.
So connected question to that. How much freedom do you give the business in terms of the full application cycle? Like, are they free to deploy by themselves, or does it? What do you centrally manage, and what do you give them freedom to do?
Good question. I'll say initially, the only thing we allow them to do is just to write the code or use Mendix to. So the cycle, they are the one that will do the user story definition, and they do the development. But creating the project itself, IT does it. We set up the environment for them, the development environment for them, and all they do is populate the sprinter, and then put their user stories, and then start developing from there. After that, they come back to IT for IT to deploy. But recently, IT has now given the one I said is a tech savvy person the opportunity to be able to deploy. But then before it deploys to production, it can deploy to UAT, but it can deploy to production. So that is the maximum that is being given up until now. You know.
You mentioned on the last slide, you mentioned shortcomings of Mendix.
Yes.
What shortcomings?
Yeah, that's what I meant by it's not a silver bullet. I mean, so far we believe there are a couple of performance issues that might come with Mendix when it comes to some applications. Like for instance, we deal with a lot of document management. For instance, you can use Mendix for document management development because of just the way the backend works. At this moment, document management we believe works much better with the proprietary kind of database, like the one we're using now is we're going to use Documentum, and Documentum is really document management based. We can't use Mendix for that. We know Mendix is kind of data-driven kind of platform, but when it comes to documents and bigger intensive programming, we don't rely on Mendix in that regards.
Questions? No? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for coming.